This is not just any Land Rover Defender. It has a supercar engine in a vehicle that weighs almost 3 tons, and a 4x4 that makes you sigh with a 6D dynamic suspension that works magic both on asphalt and on dirt. This one is wider and taller than a regular Defender, plus it has huge Brembo brakes and a price that puts it on the same level as a Mercedes Aufrecht Melcher Gross Aspach G63. And it looks like I have some musical accompaniment today. Today, I bring you a special video with the new Land Rover Defender 110 OC to welcome. You'll see this Defender has a much more robust style. It has a wider, larger front grille, with off-road lights integrated into the upper part of the front grille. It looks really good, very functional. This is bigger. The Defender is more aggressive, prominent here, in high relief, very well integrated with the Land Rover and its emblem. All of this is modular. Here you have a good set of sensors. Obviously, we're going to have the LED signature, both the daytime running light and the projection light, all LED and the fog light. Continuing the tour, you'll find 22-inch rims huge, 275 millimeters wide on this Michelin tire, which has a 50 profile. In addition, you'll find more functionality here, with a very good integration of the Defender model. Here we'll see the mirror in a black housing with its front camera. In this color, which is a really nice color, I'll tell you what it's called. Petra Copper. Copper, Petra. This is the color. In case you're going to buy it, so you can ask for it in this color, because it's really beautiful. But this is where the real story is concentrated. Things get interesting, because this is the main character, the heart. What's hidden under this hood? We have a V8 that's on the verge of extinction. Many manufacturers are phasing it out. But here it's a pure V8. We have a 4.4-liter biturbo that gives you a power of 626 horsepower. 626 horsepower. We're talking about numbers in the super sports car range, like a Ferrari, like a Lamborghini Huracan, like a Porsche 911 Gran Turismo 3. Well, we're talking about an outrageous figure, and a 0 to 60 miles per hour in less than 4 seconds also for a 4x4 that weighs almost 3 tons. It's honestly something impressive. You have a torque of 553 pound-feet, which can go up to 590 pound-feet with launch control. So we're talking about serious numbers here. And the system is a permanent 4x4 with an active rear differential. Now, as I told you, this is the Land Rover Defender 110 Octa. What does Octa V8 mean? Here we have a V8, but it refers to the octahedral diamond, which is the hardest and most durable. And that's exactly the idea behind this version. The most extreme, powerful, and capable Defender they've ever made. You can immediately tell that it's wider. The track grows by about 2.7 inches compared to other Defenders, and that gives it a more planted stance. The wheels are specific to this model, with off-road ready tires that, by the way, limit the top speed to 100 miles per hour. In this setup, the ground clearance also increases, now to 12.7 inches and a wading depth of almost 39.4 inches. So we can say almost 40. Now let's take a look at the interior, because that cabin is luxurious, impressive. But before that, like the video and subscribe. For everyone interested in buying a Land Rover, I think this video will be useful. This is a good reference, so like and subscribe to the channel, Freedy Car Power 360. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. All right, let's go. This cabin, this is pure British luxury. This is, look. I'm going to show you all of this. Let's start with the screen. The screen isn't very big, doesn't it go a bit against? Or contrary to the trend of modern vehicles, which are putting in bigger and bigger screens, 15 inches 18. I mean, it's impressive. They keep this one small, but everything is touch. All the modules here to connect to navigation, to access the different off-road screens. For the cameras, look, all of that, which obviously couldn't be any different. Quite a statement. Here it shows you each of the angles. If you can see according to the angle you set here on the left, you can see how the vehicle turns, how it rotates. So it gives you, let's say, the position where you are. This is in the 3D system here is off-road. Also the camera following the off-road system, and also for towing. I kinda miss the physical buttons, you know? The screen is functional, touch, yes, very nice, and it works better than in other Land Rovers from previous years with physical buttons. I don't know, let me know in the comments. I miss them. Here you have the audio one, but for the rest, the whole interface here is totally digital. Here you even get the vehicle's dimensions. Look, you have all the information you could ever need on this screen, with all the applications you have. For weight sensing, this is for weighting. It tells you the maximum height, like I mentioned, for wading up to 40 inches. This is what shows you, let's say, up to what depth you can go. Yeah, and obviously, it gives you a lot more information features there. And now, the important thing is, as soon as I step on the accelerator, even at medium speed, the response is immediate. It's not violent like a supercharged engine, no, but the turbos themselves push with a brutal and constant force. I like the feeling. The feeling can be very, very fun. And what really surprises me, right here, on a romantic highway, as I say because I have it at my disposal, stepping hard on it here, it's not so much the engine that surprises me. You know, what surprises me is the suspension. With that system of hydraulically interconnected shock absorbers, the balance it gives you, right? Even though it feels like a heavy vehicle, even though in some curves it has the obvious logical body roll, it feels very well supported. It doesn't lose its composure, it feels firm and comfortable, and that's a big advantage, especially for a vehicle. You know, what surprises me is the suspension, the system of hydraulically operated shock absorbers. Even though the vehicle feels very satisfying when you step on the accelerator, even in the curves, it has the expected body roll, but the body feels well supported. You know, what surprises me is the suspension of Retumba El Bajo, especially the bass notes. I'm not sure I'm describing it musically since I'm not a musician, but you can feel the vibration in the vehicle. It's fun, but I don't think I'd use it all the time. Sometimes it gets a bit tiring for me, but, well, that's how it is. Body and soul. The soul and body of Stalin Roberts seats, hydraulically interconnected. The one that gives you... Look, it's from the air you breathe. Check this out. It has air quality. It has a screen to measure the air quality. If particles are coming in, that could compromise, let's say, the air quality. Here is the purity level. You have all this, the carbon dioxide level. All of this lets you feel more at ease while breathing. Here inside your Land Rover, Defender offers you a better life there. Even though it feels quite applauded, look, isn't that what you expect from a 4x4? Look, what surprises me is how connected you are with the handling, the suspension, that power, the speed, those turbos working. Well, all of that hydraulically interconnected. Honestly, it feels pretty amazing to drive this Land Rover Defender. And look, notice, what surprises me is that the body barely leans. It never loses its composure. The steering is really good. It's quick, well, it responds well. It doesn't feel sluggish, that's what I mean. The steering is really good. It's quick. Well, it responds well, it doesn't feel sluggish, that's what I mean. It has brakes. Obviously, the Brembo brakes help a lot to stop all this mass. Authority. You really don't get the fading that maybe you would notice. Another type of vehicle. Look, what surprises me is that, it's a vehicle, of course, a 4x4 that's made for you to get it dirty, for off-roading, hydraulically interconnected, which gives you the ride quality and experience you want to have in your day-to-day life, even though it feels quite noticeable. The air conditioning controls are digital, but it also has some buttons, look, suspension. Ideal system. Additionally, you also have USB ports below. You'll find your glove compartment, and you have a good roof. Hydraulically interconnected. It feels pretty nice. Blue sky. There you have your second row seats. Now let's go to the back so you can see the size. Well, the steering. Hadn't I mentioned it? The steering is typical of Land Rover. It doesn't change much here. You have your cruise control buttons on the right and your audio controls on the corner. Look, it's surprising. Suspension. Some paddles here, embedded like they're made of polycarbonate. These paddles are hydraulically integrated behind the steering wheel. And there you have your fully digital dashboard, the instrument panel. Even though it has quite a bit of wireless charging for your cell phone. And this is a fridge, so your drinks stay cold. The passengers in the back are going to be quite comfortable. You have enough space, let's say, not too much. The wheelbase isn't wide enough for you to stretch your legs so your knees don't touch. If you're very particular, look, What surprises me is the suspension. Space system, but they're comfortable. You have a lot of controls here, USB chargers, climate controls and vents also at your disposal, and you have a hydraulic suspension system. In the back, it keeps the DNA. Defender with the exposed spare tire and clean design. Notice that the dark finish and the fender flares give it that touch of, I'm not the Defender. It's the everyday suspension. The interior is sober, but clearly very special. And if we open the rear door, we'll see that we have a very good cargo space. It has a bit of shine or gets dirty, but, well, everything is covered with a hydraulically carpeted liner, which gives you a feeling that's quite impressive. Look, you can also lower the suspension with these buttons. I'm not sure the camera can catch it, but these buttons let you raise or lower it. Plus, there's good cargo space here. And complementing that description of the rear part, look, good recovery hooks, rescue hooks. We also have a hydraulically interconnected setup. It gives, despite feeling quite a bit too more, and obviously your hook for the trailer. Here you won't have any visibility problems. You have the mirror, camera. Look, it's surprising. Suspension, side system. You have a pretty comfortable driving position. The seats give you a massage. Well, it's a super complete experience for the price that I'll mention to you later. I mean, you're paying for luxury, Land Rover luxury, and the Land Rover experience. And if you were going to go into a river, because it's ready to go into a river, does it give you the whole experience? Pretty. Even though, look, what surprises me is the suspension that, with hydraulically interconnected shock absorbers. The one it gives you, it's the kind that gets to the gas station and just goes to sleep. Well, it gives you 72 kilometers despite getting 7 miles per gallon. Obviously, if you have the $170,000 to pay to buy this beauty, well, you have it. Like you guys say to me in the comments, if you have money for the whiskey, you have money for the ice. Or the other way around, if you have money for the ice, you have money for the whiskey. But anyway, that's the idea. You know, it surprises me. It's a Land Rover Defender here, integrated into the windows as well, which gives it that Land Rover Defender customization. But Freddie still hasn't told us the price. Well, how much do we need to save or how much do we need to take out of the account? Very good question. I'm glad you asked because I know a lot of people will be interested in buying it. This very month, the DA, this one if you want, a Land Rover Defender V8 Biturbo, even though it feels quite applauded. Look at that suspension. That's $170,000. Would you pay that money for this Land Rover Defender? Or would you rather buy a Mercedes Aufrecht Melcher Großaspach G63, a Porsche 911, or the Ferrari Roma? Well, which vehicle would you buy? Or definitely, with the money in hand, would you buy this Defender? I'd also like to know your opinion there in the comments section, and tell me, what did you think of this Land Rover? Hydraulically interconnected, yes, even though it feels pretty bouncy. The features it has, serious engine. Look, what surprises me is the suspension. Robert Defender, let me know in the comments. I want to read your comments, and I insist that your feedback is very important to me, because I also take your suggestions from there for future videos. So, for now, give me your opinion. Hydraulically, Defender qualifies, and what do you need to have it? Obviously, a lot of you are going to tell me the $170,000, but the one that gives you, despite feeling quite applauded? Look, the one with the shock absorbers, the one that gives you, feels quite applauded.